Well, good evening there, friends. It is Jimmy Maverick, and it is August 22nd, inching ever closer to the regular season opening of the NFL. So we're gonna do a mock draft tonight, and we're gonna do one a little bit different for PPR. We're gonna do a 14-team league, and one of the things I like to say is my app is perfectly suited to it actually works even better in larger leagues because each pick is that much more important. Finding the right players in each and every round of your draft is more critical because the league is so much thinner at 14 teams. I'm going to show you how it's done. So first of all, I want to invite you all to please go to my website, fantasyfootballmaverick.com. That's where you're going to find my app, My Perfect Fantasy Draft. This is an app I designed to help you with the draft. And I built this thing because I had become so frustrated with the whole process of the fantasy football draft prep. The amount of time that I would put in researching players and going to websites and keeping up with the news and then building myself a customized draft list, which would then have to be updated and maintained. I would spend an unbelievable amount of hours each season working on this thing. And then when it came time for draft day, I would make these critical mistakes, just dumb mistakes. You know, I didn't realize that, this running back turned 29 during the offseason, or perhaps this guy is dealing with an injury, or this guy is, there's a million different reasons why I would mess up during these drafts, and it would always doom my team. I would never make it to the fantasy championship, although I usually would make it to the playoffs, but I would always get eliminated early. So I built this app to give me the information that I wanted to see when I'm in a draft making those critical game day decisions, and that's what this app is. And so first of all, it allows you to build a fully customized draft list in just a matter of minutes, and the quick setup only takes like a minute because you just have to answer 3 questions. Question 1, how does your league score points? Well, this is a 1-point PPR league. Question 2 is, do you want to engage Jimmy's recommended player filters? We're going to go ahead and we're going to say yes. And then question 3, do you want to enter draft mode? So what it does is breaks down the draft list based on the size of your league and your draft position. So we're going to do a 14-team league today. And we are picking, what is our pick? We are pick number 9. All right, so let's go ahead and enter draft mode. So you can see the player list right here. These are the position filters. So if we want to just look at quarterbacks or running backs, we can use that. And then this that just popped in, this is draft mode. So what these tabs represent is every round of the draft. And basically the way it works is when you look at tab number 1, we're going to look at all the players between our first pick and our second pick. And it's going to be sorted, instead of being sorted according to some arbitrary top 200 list, or ADP, all the players are sorted according to their VORC score. VORC stands for Value, Outlook, Reliability, and Consistency. It's these 4 columns over here. These are the 4 key stats that I like to look at when evaluating players. Based on how they score on each of these columns, they get points, and then those points are added up. That's the VORC score. And if you just hover over the VORC score, like for DeAndre Hopkins, you'll see that he scores 57 VORC points. So he gets 2 points for value. Basically, value is my pick number less the value of the player. So the value rank is 7, so that's 2 points there. The outlook, he gets a 4-star outlook, so that gets him 15 points. He is a high reliability player, so that gets him 20 points. And then the consistency is 10 out of 10. That also gets him 20 points. So that's 57 points. So what I like to say is, when you're looking at these draft lists, focus on the players at the top half of the list and just tend to stay away from the players on the bottom half, and it'll all work out very well. My app also provides recommendations, and you can see here for the first round pick, it is recommending Travis Kelce, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Todd Gurley. Now, I do very much like the idea of going with an elite running back to start this draft off, and Gurley is the top choice at this point. You can see that Zeke Elliott is a long shot. That's what this little gun means. It means he's a long shot, less than a 50-50 shot of making it to us. I don't think it's going to happen. But James Conner is another great choice at this point in the draft as well. So let's just see what's going on here. It is almost to our pick. So let's go ahead and get these guys queued up. So there's Gurley. And let's see here. There's Conner. And we can also queue up Kelce and Juju. Where's Juju? There he is. All right. And when I'm using my app, I really like to use the queue feature. And the main reason is that now those players are highlighted on this screen. So if any of these guys happen to make it to my next pick, I will know about it because they will be highlighted here and they'll be up here on this list. It's a great trick to help you during the draft. And plus, you know, we're going to be here, we're going to be looking at the players, and then we're going to come back here. This allows us to enter them in so that we don't have to keep jumping back to this screen during the course of the live draft. Now, something else I just want to tell you is that during the course of this draft, we are not going to track individual players. I don't care what the other players are selecting, because the way my app works is it's giving you a pool of players that you have to choose from in each round of the draft. When we look at this pool of players for round 1, let me look at all of them, all these players. Basically, all these players are going to be gone by the next round. The ones that have the most likely chance to make it to the next round are the ones with the little hands next to them. That means those are reaches. And the reaches actually become the long shots on the next round. So you'll know that if you really want that player, you should take them now, because otherwise it's going to be a 50-50 shot or less that they will make it to the next round. So it is almost to our pick. We just have to wait for Miller to make his selection. You can see that all 4 of my players are still on the board, which is great. But we're going to go with Gurley, get ourselves, you know, an elite top end running back on an elite offense coached by an elite coach. You know, there's all good things going on there. There is concern about Gurley's knee, of course. We can always look to grab Darrell Henderson a little bit later on. I'm not really going to worry about it though. I want to draft the players that have the most upside at each round of the draft. So, we are gambling a bit with this. If you're not such a gambling person, go with Connor. Connor's a great choice. They're both very good at this point in the draft, and they both provide similar amounts of value. And they're both great running backs. So, you know, I think we're good. So it looks like Miller's going to take his full allotment of 1 minute and 30 seconds to pick a player. But when we're done with the first round here, what we're going to do is we're just going to jump to the round 2. And so now we're going to see a pool of players. It's a larger pool of players. And basically, these are all the players that are going to be picked between pick 2 and pick 3. So we got to select one, right? So let's come back here. 3, 2, 1. It's going to auto pick his person, and great. So all of our guys made it. That's fantastic. Let's go with our first choice. We'll take Gurley with the first pick. And now let's look at who it's recommending for the second round. So for the second round, it's recommending Mike Evans, George Kittle, Kerryon Johnson. I'm not real keen on selecting tight ends before round 3. It's really hard for me to justify a second round pick on a tight end, no matter how good they are. Kittle is very good, obviously. We could definitely go running back in the first 2 rounds. Let's see if we did that. What would be the next wide receiver? So we could still grab someone like Robert Woods or Chris Godwin. Neither one of those guys is wide receiver 1s though. So I really kind of like the idea of going with someone like Mike Evans or Juju if he makes it to us. Let's put Mike Evans and Kerryon Johnson on the queue. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause the video. We'll come back when we're within 3 of our pick, and we'll see who's available. Okay, so it's almost back to us, and I was going to say Juju Smith-Schuster is still on the board, but no, he just got taken. So none of our picks from last round made it to this pick, but that's all right. We still have Kerryon Johnson, Mike Evans, George Kittle, Nick Chubb, all guys that I highlighted off the list. Again, we could go running back, but I got to say I always like to balance my team. I always like to go running back and then get an elite wide receiver. Mike Evans is a top 6 player, whereas Kerryon Johnson is more of a lower end RB1. So I am going to go ahead. I'm going to go with the wide receiver on this round, and we will obviously target some more running backs in the next set of rounds. So looking at round 3, you can see that it is recommending Robert Woods, Chris Godwin, and Marlon Mack as a running back. Now let's just look at the other running backs that are available here. Marlon Mack, David Montgomery, someone who's getting a lot of very positive buzz. Josh Jacobs, a quality choice. Down lower, even Aaron Jones and Chris Carson, although they don't score nearly as well on the Vork score. At the bottom, you got Damian Williams, who I'm very concerned about right now. I'm wondering if Darwin Thompson is going to supplant him in the lineup, and I think it's a good possibility that could happen before the season starts. So I'm kind of staying away from Damian at this point, but I do like let's queue up Mack and Montgomery and Jacobs, because those guys are great. We can also queue up Woods and Godwin. Let's get those guys queued up. So I'll just pause the video. We'll come back when it's our pick. We'll see who's available, and we'll take our shot. All right, so it's almost back to us, and very interestingly, look, both Zach Ertz and George Kittle are still on the board. Now, as a third-round pick in this kind of a league, I would be very tempted to take them just because they would provide a tremendous positional advantage in the tight end department, and to put it up with Todd Gurley and Mike Evans, just that would be fantastic to put them all together like that. Now, Kittle did make it. Now, let's look at who else is still on the board. Marlon Mack, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, Chris Godwin. So we've got some great choices here. So if we look at George Kittle, let me just show all the players here. So George Kittle's right here. Value rank of 29 versus, let's say we're taking someone like Marlon Mack. Value rank 41. David Montgomery 39. Josh Jacobs 40. So, he does give us a point advantage to a certain extent, but not that much, to tell you the truth. Well, it is like almost a full round. It is almost a full round here. We are at pick number 37. So, you know what? I am going to do this. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Kittle. We're at pick 37. He should not have made it this far. And I know I'm bypassing some really good running backs. We'll see if any of them make it back to us on the next round. So, George Kittle, you're on the team. All right, so let's move to the fourth round here. And fourth round, it's recommending Tyler Boyd, DJ Moore, Phillip Lindsay. What other running backs is it recommending this round? Not a lot of great options. Coleman, Cohen, Michael, Sanders. None of these guys offer very good value, and that's part of the risk that we took by taking the tight end as opposed to another running back. So let's go ahead. Let's definitely queue up Lindsay. We'll queue up Boyd and Moore, and we'll wait for it to come back to us, and we'll see who we end up with. So I'm just going to pause the video here, and we'll come back on the next pick. Okay, so it's almost back to us, and I thought maybe one of those players was going to make it back, like Marlon Mack and David Montgomery, but they both got taken right before the pick. We knew that was a risk. We knew that was going to happen, but Phillip Lindsay is still on the board, so I'm going to take him. And let's move to the fifth round. So in the fifth round, who's it recommending? Jarvis Landry, Sterling Shepard, and Austin Ekeler. Now, there is a high priority running back that I want to get because I think the Gordon holdout is going to last a long time this season. So let's definitely get Ekeler on the queue along with these other guys. Other running backs this round, Lamar Miller, Tevin Coleman, Tariq Cohen. Again, these long shots from the prior round. Lamar Miller, just not a great option. He's just not a great option. Miles Sanders, I'm not sold on yet. I don't think he's a good option. But Ekeler, Landry, and Shepard, I'll go ahead. I'll put them on the queue. We'll pause the video. We'll come back when it's our pick. All right, I moved very quickly back to my pick, and you can see that Austin Ekeler did make it. Jarvis Landry did get sniped, and then all the other players from the prior round did get taken. So let's go ahead. We'll take Ekeler as our third running back. That's a great choice. Sterling Shepard also is a very good choice at this point in the draft. But let's keep moving along. So sixth round, here's what we're looking at. Robbie Anderson, Josh Gordon, Baker Mayfield. Got some great wide receivers here. See, this is why you don't need to go in early on wide receivers, man. Look at this. We're in the sixth round of a 14-team league, and you can still get guys like Gordon and Anderson. That's crazy, right? I mean, that just shows you how deep the position is. As far as running backs, you got Royce Freeman, Darrell Henderson. So if we wanted to back up Gurley, we could take Henderson with this next pick. Although he is a reach, we could gamble and see if he'll be ready on the next round. I'm inclined to do that with a player like that just because his value is not as great as it should be for someone in the sixth round. But let's definitely get ourselves Robbie Anderson or Josh Gordon. I love the idea of going with them. Any other wide receivers here? Well, there's Christian Kirk too. Not super thrilled with Christian Kirk though. I don't, he's good, but I'm not sold on that offense. I am sold on these offenses, right? So let's put Anderson and Gordon up. We'll put Darrell Henderson up there as well. I'll pause the video. We'll come back when it's my pick. All right, so it's almost back to us, and it looks like someone did take Robbie Anderson a little early, so that's unfortunate. Josh Gordon still there, Darrell Henderson still there, and actually looking at the top of the list, man, hardly any quarterbacks have been taken. Look, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan, Andrew Luck. Okay, looks like Rodgers just got taken. But then also tight ends, Hunter Henry's right here too. That's much later than I would expect at this point in the draft. So there are some bargains on the board that you definitely want to take advantage of. But I'm just going to look at what other wide receivers are available here. You got Dede and Jones and Kirk and Pettis. All right, so there's okay choices, but I got to say Gordon definitely offers the most upside, and who knows if the Demons are behind him or not, but I got to take the advantage here at this point in the draft. Take him as our second wide receiver, and of course we'll draft at least 2 more receivers for this team, so there will be backup behind him. So let's jump to the 7th round here. And in the 7th round, recommending more wide receivers. A couple of great ones, man. Larry Fitzgerald, Curtis Samuel. I like both those options. Anyone else here? Not really anyone I'm super thrilled with. Running backs. Let's look at the running backs. Peyton Barber, Freeman, Howard Hines. So there's Darrell Henderson, the long shot, right? Duke Johnson, LaShawn McCoy, Latavius Murray. Not really thrilled with any of these guys. And one of the things I want to show you on this thing is the value rank. Okay, so I just we take all the players, we take their projected stats, we multiply it by your league point schedule. That gives them the projected points, and then those projected points are ranked on the value column. And one of the nice things I do is I exclude quarterbacks from this ranking. So when you're looking at the value of this player, it's a straight up value against their draft position. And when you see players here with values in the 170s, the 130s, the 160s, and we're only at pick 93, those are terrible picks for your fantasy team. Basically what it's saying is that these guys have 0 fantasy value unless someone ahead of them gets hurt. Darrell Henderson, again, value rank 125. He doesn't really have startable value unless Gurley gets hurt, right? So that's a very important piece of information to have on draft day when you are in a live draft. And only my app is going to give you that information that's modified so that you can actually use it and actually compare it against the other players and your draft position to see if that player is a good pick or a bad pick. Let's put Fitzgerald and Samuel up on the queue, and I'll pause the video. We'll come back when it's our pick, and we'll see who we end up with. Okay, so we are back. You can see that Darrell Henderson made it to our pick, so that is great. A long shot made it back to us. I also still have Larry Fitzgerald and Curtis Samuel queued up. Now, I did also look at to the next round, and there's a good chance that Fitz is going to make it to the 9th round, I think. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yes, actually, because we're at the 7th round, right? Larry Fitzgerald has a good chance to make it to the 8th round, and so I think we can bypass him. So we either got to go safety of Darrell Henderson or the upside of Curtis Samuel, who's been getting some really good buzz out there this preseason. Of course, the injury to Cam Newton does hurt his value. So I think, why don't we go with the safe pick? Let's back up Todd Gurley, get Darrell Henderson, and then we will try to get Larry Fitzgerald on the next round. Again, there's Fitzgerald. There's also Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I think that's a great choice. If we look at running backs on this next round, who are the running backs? We got Peyton Barber, Matt Breida, Carlos Hyde, Ronald Jones. Not really interested in any of those guys. So let's definitely get ourselves another wide receiver. I'll put MVS on there. Anyone else besides MVS we want to put up? Dante Moncrief is also a good choice. These other guys not real interested, don't have great outlooks. So we'll put MVS and Moncrief up on the queue, and we will grab one of them. So Marquez, there he is. And let's see here. Dante Moncrief, we'll put him up there, right? Okay, I'm just going to pause. We'll just come back when it's our pick. All right, it's moving very quickly. You can see Fitz is still on the board, so that's great news. So let's go ahead and, let's just queue him up. He's definitely going to be my choice. He definitely offers the most value. Look at his value rank, 70. We're pick 104. So that's nearly 2 full rounds of value we're getting out of Larry Fitzgerald by taking him now. So I love that. That's how you win your fantasy draft, man. Value, value, value. Every place you can get it, you take it, and you don't buy the overvalued players because those are the ones that'll just sit as dead weight on your team and just weigh you down. So value, of the 4 key stats that I look at, value is the most important as far as I'm concerned. But I do look at the overall level of level of the player, and that's what the Vork score is all about. It's looking at an overall score and comparing it against all the other players in that round. So we just have to wait for Griffin to make his choice. We'll grab Fitz, and then we will be good to go. Oh, are you kidding? Of course he took it. Of course he took Fitz. All right, well, we'll go with our second choice then. We'll go with Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who's a nice choice. I think he's going to be very good this year. Let's jump to the 9th round now, and we can see here who's it recommending. Tyrell Williams, Chicago Bears. Lamar Jackson, the quarterback. That's a great choice for a quarterback. I very much like Lamar. I've been taking him in a lot of mocks. But, you know, Tyrell Williams also offers top 100 value as far as his expected production. If we look at the running backs this round, who do we got? We got Matt Breida, Dion Lewis, Jalen Richard, Carlos Hyde, Ronald Jones. Not really interested in any of those guys. Those are not interesting to me. So let's, and for wide receivers, boy, it's kind of slim pickings here. Look, we could also go for the Chicago Bears defense if we wanted to do that. That would be an interesting play. I usually don't take defenses until right at the end of the draft, but because this is a 14-team draft, to have like the best defense in the league would be a certain advantage on a week-to-week basis, right? So let's queue up Tyrell, let's queue up the Bears, and I'll pause the video. We'll come back when it's our pick. We'll see what. All right, so it came back to us. You can see Tyrell Williams, the Bears defense still on the board. Tons of quarterbacks still on the board right here. Look, Roethlisberger, Wilson, Brady's still there. It looks like Goff just got taken. But anyway, we're doing just fine. Let's continue to build our wide receiver depth. Tyrell Williams is one of the last wide receivers that actually has startable value. So let's go ahead and take him. Now we need to start thinking about a quarterback, although I'm still not too worried about it. This next round, 10th round, okay, so it is recommending Lamar Jackson, although I think he did get taken. Let's just look at the quarterbacks real quick. Yes, he did get taken, so we're not going to worry about that now. But there is a player that I want to get, and he's very important to me. Darwin Thompson, the Kansas City running back. Big upgrade today, okay? He has moved ahead of Carlos Hyde on the depth chart. He is now only behind Damian Williams, and I think he has a good shot at becoming the starter on the best offense in the NFL. So let's absolutely get Darwin Thompson onto our team. It's almost back to us. This is the nice thing. It starts to move very fast at this point in the draft because so many people have gone to auto. So Darwin Thompson is going to be the pick for this round. Other players, Adam Humphries. Let's see here. And again, it's not great value, right? I mean, if you're looking at value outside of the top 100, they're really not startable for fantasy purposes. Something else has to happen in order to make them startable. So that's why you need to look very closely. Here's someone who's actually on my radar, man. Jordan Reed. I'm not ready to recommend him yet, but I got to say he offers great value at this point in the draft, and the dude is healthy. He's never gone into training camp healthy like in his whole career. And yes, he is like a horrible injury risk, but if you wanted to take a chance on a tight end late, I'm thinking, man, why not? Why not just go for it? And there's some other late tight ends which you can get to kind of bolster his position. We're not going to worry about that though. We got Kittle. I'm never going to bench Kittle unless it's the bye week. So we just got to wait for Griffin to take his pick. Darwin Thompson did make it to us. That is fantastic. That is a fantastic play that could pay off very big this fantasy season. Now, in the 11th round, who are we looking at? We're looking at Mohamed Sanu, Mark Andrews. There's another great tight end, John Brown. So we got some more wide receivers, tight ends. Let's look at the running backs and see if there's any running backs of interest. That's interesting. No running backs of interest in this round. How about quarterbacks? What do we have in the way of quarterbacks? Mitch Trubisky. I don't have any interest in Mitch Trubisky. The next round, though, is when Phillip Rivers and Kirk Cousins are going. So let's grab one of those guys in the 12th round. Let's definitely get ourselves. We'll queue up Sanu, Andrews, and Brown, and we'll just wait for the turn to come around to us, and we'll see who we got. Okay, so we're back. The only player that got taken in the interim was Mark Andrews. That's okay. We really didn't want a second tight end. But look at this. Mohamed Sanu, John Brown still on the board. As far as these guys, Sanu's the number 3 receiver. Brown is actually the number 1 on admittedly not as good of a passing offense. But let's go ahead and take John Brown as a depth play. And then for the next round, at pick number 160, we're going to take our quarterback. I do have Rivers and Cousins queued up. If we happen to miss on both, which I'm not really worried about, but there are some good options. Sam Darnold has some high upside. Josh Allen, great, a rushing quarterback. Always bolsters the numbers, always gives them a very safe floor. I like the idea of going with Josh Allen, and hey, then we got him paired up with John Brown, and we could stack some touchdowns, right? And Matthew Stafford, I think he's going to bounce back very nicely this year. So we've got options should our guy get picked, but I'm not really worried. Again, the draft is going very quick now with the auto picks. So let me just pause. We'll come back and we'll grab our quarterback. So it's almost back to us. Rivers and Cousins are still on the board. I'm going to take Rivers if he's the one available, just because I like that offense so much. So many great offensive weapons, lots of places for him to throw the ball. And we got Austin Ekeler too. So, you can stack some touchdowns that way. So that's good. But overall, I like how this team is developing. We only have 2 more bench slots. Then we got to take our kicker and our defense. So let's go ahead and take Rivers. And so we want some high upside picks. So if we look to the 13th round, these are examples of high upside picks. Look at this. Damian Harris, Justice Hill, and Mecole Hardman, all guys that I want on my teams late. I think they're all great options. Justice Hill, very excited about his upside. Another running back, get some more running back depth. Damian Harris, I think he's going to have his opportunities this year because I don't think somebody's going to be able to stay healthy. Let's put all these guys on our queue and let's get one of them. So I'll just pause the video. We'll come back when it's our pick and we'll see who we get. Oh, I'm so disappointed. I got sniped on my 2 favorite running backs. I got sniped on Justice and I got sniped on Damian Harris. But I am looking. Tony Pollard is still available. He's the backup to Ezekiel Elliott. He's not as attractive as he has been because it looks like that situation is going to resolve itself. Let's see who else is sitting here on the running backs that we could grab. Oh, man. That just kind of bums me out. This is a difficult choice here. But you know what? I see Adrian Peterson still here. Let's go ahead and grab him because I'm not convinced that Darius Geis is ready to go yet for this season. And then what I'd like to do is I'd like to close out our picks with another tight end. In these larger leagues, you kind of want to have a backup tight end. And I do like the idea of getting Herndon Jimmy, not really interested in these guys up here. But Herndon, I think, is a great choice because he is just suspended for 4 games, but I think he's going to be a major part of that offense when he comes back for the Jets. We got Hawkinson, too. If I wanted to take a chance on a rookie, Darren Waller is getting some buzz right now, but I kind of like Herndon the best. And again, this is just a safety play just because should anything happen to Kittle, we'll at least have someone to put in after week 4, right? And that's what we need to wait till week 5 when he'll be available. And is there anyone else down here? Not really. Jordan Reed is gone. That's not surprising. I'm just going to pause the video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video. We'll take the tight end. I'll take my defense. I'll take my kicker. We'll come back. We'll review the team, which I got to say I very much like at this point. So anyway, I'll be right back. All right, and we're back. So let's review this team. So for our quarterback, we got Phillip Rivers. For our running backs, we got Todd Gurley, Phillip Lindsay, Austin Ekeler, Darrell Henderson, Darwin Thompson, and Adrian Peterson. So very solid group of running backs for such a large league. Wide receivers, Mike Evans, Josh Gordon, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Tyrell Williams, John Brown, and that's it for that. So that's a very good group of wide receivers. I'm very happy with that. Tight ends, we got George Kittle and we got Chris Herndon. I took the Cowboys as the defense, and the kicker is Teveccio of Atlanta. Let me just tell you, even in larger leagues, you can wait till the very end to take your kicker and your defense. Don't even worry about it. There was plenty of other good options that were available if those guys weren't available, so it's fine. But I got to say, man, I love this team. This is a great, very solid team, and I hope you could see the value in using my perfect fantasy draft to find these players and to make the right decisions on draft day. So please go to my website, fantasyfootballmaverick.com. Sign up for the app. You subscribe to it. It's a 1-year unlimited subscription for $9.95. You can use it on as many fantasy drafts as you have this season. And let me tell you, it is absolutely going to make all the difference on draft day in helping you find the very best players at each and every round of your draft. And again, I just wanted to I hope you noticed, I did not bother with about tracking any players during this draft. And you could see that I pretty much got almost every player that I wanted. There was a few we got sniped on, especially Justice Hill, who I was very disappointed that we didn't end up with at the very end of the draft there. But for the most part, we got almost every player we wanted. We even got a couple of long shots, so we got good value on those players because we got them around later than we thought we could. And so it just works out very well. It will totally change your game on draft day, absolutely help you build a dominating team, regardless of the size of your draft either. So that's the other thing to look at. This app can do anywhere from 8-team leagues up to 16-team leagues, okay? So anywhere in that range, you can set it up for draft mode and just go round by round, and you'll just find your players, you'll mark them up on, you'll queue them up on your draft board, and you just go from there. It works fantastic. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe below, and happy drafting, everybody. We are here. It is draft season.